Listen, I told my boy Jazz, I already caught the biggest fish in Texas. About to get out here and get it in. Y'all see the water. I know who the #1 fisherman is. Even big fish get caught.
Clearly, they are not the same size. Terence Crawford used to be a small guy. Now he's grown into what will be about a 154-pounder, I'd imagine. They fight around 154, 160. They should have fought. By the time Terence Crawford and Canelo fight, Bud will be 36, Canelo will be 34 years old. Now, I'm not saying those guys are done. By no means. They're still the two best boxers in the world. But imagine if we got those guys in their late 20s, right? Or 3 to 4 years ago.
Daniel Cormier has just dropped bombshells on the fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. However, Daniel Cormier also explained that even though some people think the fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez is happening too late, both fighters are still in top form. Crawford is undefeated with 41 wins and 31 knockouts, and he's won world titles in multiple weight classes: lightweight, super lightweight, welterweight, and super welterweight. Crawford is moving up from 154 pounds to fight Canelo, while Canelo has recently been fighting as high as 175 pounds. At first, Cormier thought the fight would happen at 154 pounds, but he corrected himself and said it's actually set for 168 pounds.
Here's where I believe we are going to be saved in this regard. They're just as good as they've always been. Crawford is 41-0, 31 KOs, going up to 154, gonna fight Canelo at 154. He's won world titles at lightweight, super lightweight, welterweight, and super welterweight. So he's been a champion everywhere. But Bud's going to make Canelo fight at 54. I don't know that Canelo's been fighting at 54 for a while. Remember all those b-ball fights were up at like 175 for Canelo Alvarez. They're two of the best boxers in the world. They're not... Oh, sorry. They're going to fight at 168. Yes. Canelo's been fighting up at like 175. Crawford going up from 154 to fight him at 168.
Cormier believes that despite their ages, Crawford being 36 and Canelo 34, they are still in their athletic prime. He pointed out that most UFC champions today are over 30, so being in their mid-30s doesn't mean they're past their best. He called both fighters phenomenal and still among the best in the world. In his view, the fight is happening at the right time.
They're not over the hill at all. These are phenomenal fighters. They're both still in their prime. Most UFC champions aren't even under 30. I don't know that we have one under 30 male champion right now. So they're in their athletic prime, right? 30 to 35.
On the other hand, Rolly Romero shared his honest opinion about the upcoming Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez fight, saying he doesn't care much for it. He acknowledged that weight classes exist for a reason and criticized the idea of Crawford moving up multiple divisions to fight a top pound-for-pound boxer like Canelo. Romero admitted that while Crawford is a great and skilled fighter, he finds him boring and not entertaining outside the ring, which makes it hard for him to get excited about Crawford's fights.
They have weight divisions for a reason, right or wrong?
Manny Pacquiao, bro.
Okay.
What's your take on Manny?
Pacquiao didn't move up 3 weight divisions at once.
Okay.
Fight a pound-for-pound fighter.
Okay, so Canelo's got it. How does Canelo get it done?
I don't know, man. It might be the boringest fight ever. It might be the best fight ever. But I will tell you this. It's not a fight I truly care about. Crawford's not really entertaining. So I don't really care about how he fights. But I will tell you like this. He's a tremendous fighter. He's a great fighter. But he's not really entertaining outside the ring. There's nothing that makes me want to be like, I can't wait to see the next Terence Crawford fight.
Moreover, Virgil Ortiz said that if Terence Crawford were active, he would rank him as the #1 fighter. But since Crawford isn't coming back right now, it comes down to other opponents like Murdo. He explained that both Murdo and other top fighters are difficult in their own unique ways, making it hard to compare or rank them fairly. Ortiz emphasized that he's not waiting around for anyone and is ready to fight whoever is available, promising that there will still be exciting matchups and fans will be happy with what's coming.
I would put Crawford #1, but he's obviously not coming back. So it would just be Martizali or Fedor. But I think they're both difficult in their own right, because they're both completely different fighters. So it's not really fair to rank them, you know what I mean? But they're both equally, in my opinion, they're kind of equally hard fighters, difficult fighters. But that being said, It's just we're gonna fight whoever's available. We're not gonna wait for anyone. But we're gonna. There's still gonna be good fights, and the fans are gonna be very happy.
However, Daniel Cormier said he believes Canelo Alvarez isn't quite as sharp as he was when he fought at 154 or 160 pounds. He thinks Canelo has gotten bigger, is carrying more muscle, and that may have slightly reduced his performance. Still, Cormier believes this fight will be a blockbuster event and one of the biggest pay-per-views ever.
I thought Canelo has gotten, he's not as good as he was when he was fighting at 154, 160, because he's a little bigger, carrying more muscle, but I think it's gonna be a blockbuster event. It's gonna be one of the biggest pay-per-views we've ever seen. Gonna be highly competitive, and I do believe that that added element.
He added that the promotion by Dana White, TKO, and Riyadh Season will bring extra hype and global interest. Cormier said Allegiant Stadium will sell out and that he will be sitting in the front row because he's not missing it. He also praised Terence Crawford, saying he's a great guy and that his sons are excellent wrestlers and athletes. He knows Crawford from the wrestling world and sees how motivated he is for this fight.
That Dana's gonna be promoting, that Riyadh Season is going to be promoting, is going to make more people tap in to what's going on in this big fight. They're going to sell out Allegiant Stadium. I'm going to be there front row. I'm not missing this. Terence Crawford is a great guy. His sons are tremendous wrestlers, boxers. They do everything. I know Terence from the wrestling. I know how motivated he is to fight this fight. I know that Canelo Alvarez.
Moreover, Bozy Ennis expressed strong confidence in Terence Crawford's chances of defeating Canelo Alvarez. He praised Crawford's sharp movement, slick boxing, and punching precision, saying Crawford won't be passive like William Skull. He'll engage and apply pressure. Ennis highlighted Crawford's toughness and grit shaped by his upbringing, and noted that his ability to adapt under pressure could cause major problems for Canelo inside the ring.
Yeah, I think, like I said, Terence got a great chance to beat him, man. You know what I mean? Terence can box, Terence can move, Terence can punch. You know what I mean? Terence ain't gonna be doing like Skull. Terence gonna fight you. You know what I mean? He's Terence from the street, man. You know what I mean? He know what to do. You know what I mean? When it comes down to it. I think he's gonna wind up frustrating Canelo.
Ennis also suggested that Crawford could potentially stop Canelo. While acknowledging Canelo's proven durability, he pointed out that Crawford's accuracy and punch placement are on another level. Unlike past opponents who avoided body shots, Ennis believes Crawford will go to the body strategically. He explained that well-placed shots downstairs could force Canelo to lower his guard, leaving him exposed for clean fight-ending punches.
Crawford, Canelo, who you got?
Crawford, Canelo? I still say Canelo.
I got Canelo too.
I still say Canelo. Ring IQ, I believe that Crawford has a bit more.
Yeah.
However, it's just the size difference. I think that where Crawford is lacking is that he should try and test the waters even with somebody at that weight class before facing Canelo. But hey, they say he's a dog, he's got shot in the head and drove to the hospital, so maybe that's just his mentality.
Hey, let's see. Only one way to find out till that day comes.
It's the only way, but I definitely think that it's a great fight overall. You know, black and brown is how you get down.
Teofimo Lopez shared his thoughts on the Crawford versus Canelo fight, ultimately picking Canelo to win. He acknowledged that while Terence Crawford may have a higher ring IQ, the major factor is the size difference, which he believes gives Canelo the edge. Lopez suggested that Crawford should have tested himself against someone at that weight class before jumping in with Canelo, but noted Crawford's tough mentality, referencing how he once got shot in the head and drove himself to the hospital. Despite his concerns, Lopez called it a great fight and summed it up by saying, "Black and brown is how you get down."
Is as good as anyone we've seen in a long time. True legend of boxing. It's a massive fight. I hope that it can deliver what and match or exceed the expectation. You know, growing up, they always put the two best guys together when it felt like they were supposed to be together. It still feels like we haven't missed the window for these two, and I feel like this is going to be a big fight, a good fight, a fun fight, and a true competition between two of the best boxers of the entire world. So September 12th, Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, promoted by Dana White, promoted by TKO, promoted by Riyadh Season. Tap into Canelo Alvarez defending his Ring Magazine championship against the great Terence Crawford. You know, I love when things come together. this is finally coming together. I believe it's gonna be fun.
Daniel Cormier also called Canelo a true legend of boxing and said this is a massive fight. He hopes it lives up to expectations or even exceeds them. Growing up, he remembered how the best fighters used to meet at the right time, and he believes that's still the case here. To him, this is going to be a big, fun, competitive fight between two of the best boxers in the world, set for September 12th at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas.
Well, the weight won't be the factor. The factor will be how Canelo chooses to make the fight. If Canelo comes out and does what Canelo should do, Canelo wins the fight. If Canelo comes out and does what he shouldn't do, Crawford wins the fight.
Moreover, Roy Jones Jr. thinks Terence Crawford's skill level is impressive, but Canelo Alvarez's physical strength and size, he sees Canelo as compact and powerful, not necessarily tall, but built with dense muscle, and believes that raw physicality will be hard for Crawford to overcome, regardless of his technical sharpness.
The thing about Canelo Alvarez is Canelo Alvarez is extremely hard to beat. But he's not unbeatable. Now you can say this about every fighter, but this is Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is extremely hard to beat, but he's not unbeatable.
Keith Thurman praised Canelo Alvarez for his all-around excellence, noting his defensive sharpness, punching power, precise timing, and slick movement. While he acknowledged that Canelo is very tough to beat, Thurman made it clear he doesn't view him as unbeatable, leaving room for a skilled fighter like Crawford to challenge him.
If the right thing is supposed to happen every once in a while in this freaking world, which it never does, I feel like Crawford is supposed to win this fight. It's just a favorite of boxing for the way he went about his career and the way Canelo went about his career.
Paulie Malignaggi expressed confidence in Terence Crawford's path to victory. He feels Crawford's career trajectory and the way he has handled each step of his rise puts him in the perfect position to overcome a challenge like Canelo Alvarez.
But can Terence Crawford pull this off?
He definitely can. He has the ability to pull it off for sure. Now, it's going to be a tough task. You're talking about Canelo Alvarez, one of the greatest fighters ever. So I think Terence is special, you know, and it's going to take it takes a special fighter to move up multiple weight classes and still dominate. And I think Terence Crawford has the ability, not to say he'll dominate Canelo Alvarez, but I think he's special enough to where he can find a way to expose Canelo's flaws and pull it off. I just think he's a special enough fighter, and he's gifted enough, and he's smart enough to win a boxing match with.
Kevin Cunningham highlighted Crawford's intelligence and boxing talent, saying he has the tools to win despite the size difference. He called Canelo one of the best to ever compete, but believes Crawford can handle the step up, spot vulnerabilities, and use his ring IQ to take control in key moments.
I think what you'll see with Terence is a boxer, but he's also going to try to beat up. He's going to get the respect of Canelo Alvarez. Yeah, he's going to box, but he's going to get his respect too, and he's going to be smart about it. You know, so I think he can. I really think Terence can pull this off.
Kevin Cunningham also said that Crawford won't just rely on technique, he'll bring physical aggression too. He expects Crawford to mix sharp boxing with assertiveness in the ring to earn Canelo's respect early and force a competitive pace throughout the bout. Eddie Hearn called this a matchup between two legends of the sport, but he believes the weight gap favors Canelo significantly. He noted that even at 154 pounds, Crawford is not a naturally big fighter, and going up to 168 pounds could push his limits. He acknowledged both fighters' high boxing IQs, but said Canelo's strength would be a big advantage, especially if he starts the fight aggressively to slow Crawford's footwork.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a fantastic fight. You know, two generational greats, two pound-for-pound greats. I do think the weight will be too much for Terence. I think even in the Madrimov fight, you saw that physically, I think he's, you know, even at 154, he's not a big 154. He's definitely not a big 160, and he's definitely not even a small 168. So, but he has got unbelievable skill, and he's got a huge boxing IQ. But so has Canelo Alvarez. So I do give him the edge in that fight.
Do we see a stoppage?
Yeah, I believe so. If Canelo's active in the fight, depends. He's got to get to him early. Terence will be moving his feet, and Canelo won't like that. You know, he wants you to come and fight him.
Big E from WWE shared his excitement for the bout, saying it's a dream clash for fans. He acknowledged Canelo's physical advantages, but also questioned whether the long years of competition might start catching up with him. While he knows it'll be tough, Big E is backing Crawford to win by decision, citing his belief in Crawford's resilience and mindset.
Can we get Bud and Canelo? Can we please get Bud Crawford and Canelo? I don't know if we're gonna see it, but man, I think that's what damn near all fight fans want to see.
Who do you have in that fight? Break it down.
I don't know, man. I can't root against Bud right now. You wonder if Canelo and the miles start to catch up. It's a great fight. Obviously, Canelo's the bigger man, but seeing Bud put some weight on, I won't root against Bud. Gun to my head, I'll go Bud Crawford.
Dang. So how do you see it going? Decision, knockout?
A decision. I don't think he'd finish Canelo, but I think we'd see a decision. I was actually just watching the highlights of the Spence fight.
Ronnie Shields compared Crawford's potential game plan to Floyd Mayweather's past performance against Canelo, pointing out how Mayweather used movement and angles to neutralize pressure. Shields believes Crawford has the skill and intelligence to do something similar and sees that approach as key to frustrating and outboxing Canelo.
Crawford has the power to maybe keep Canelo honest and maybe
you don't need power.
But just I'm just saying, I guess the aspect is Canelo's gonna want to press him, you know, at some point. But you know, Crawford likes to fight.
Okay, Canelo wanted to press Floyd too.
True.
He tried to. Floyd kept stepping around him. He, kept looking for Floyd. Floyd was right there. And then would just make one or two simple moves. Canelo had to reset. Floyd never had to reset. Boom, 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 step around. Boom, 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 step around. That was it. Trust me, Crawford's going to look at that. He's going to perfect that. And that's why I gave him a great shot.
Israel Madrimov sees the result of the fight depending on how it plays out. He believes that if it goes the distance, Crawford's strategy and ring control would give him the edge. But if it ends in a knockout, he leans toward Canelo due to his heavy-handed power. He respects Crawford's all-around ability, but thinks the fight's outcome hinges on its rhythm and flow.
If 12 rounds, Crawford win, I think.
Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, what do you think about that fight if they did fight? Looks like it's up for September.
Good fight. If 168 pounds, I think it's Canelo, but it's Canelo better technique because 50-50. If 12 rounds, Crawford win, I think. If knockout, it's Canelo.
What makes Crawford so difficult to fight against?
He has power, smart, in more practical.
Bob Arum acknowledged the size difference as a serious factor in this fight, but he believes Crawford's superior skill set could make the difference. He admires Canelo's accomplishments, but said Crawford's technique and ring IQ give him a legitimate shot at winning, despite giving up a significant amount of weight.
Or is it just 50-50? It's very, very hard because of the difference in weight. I would think that if I had to bet the fight, that I would bet Terence, because Terence has more skills than Canelo. But he's given away a lot of weight, a lot of real weight, so that matters. But again, Terence is a tremendously skilled fighter. So is Canelo a very skilled fighter. But he doesn't have the same skill set as Terence does.
Caleb Plant pointed out that Crawford's ability to fight in both stances and at all distances will be crucial. He said Crawford's timing and ability to switch rhythm during the fight can create serious problems for Canelo, especially when combined with his power and ring intelligence.
I give him a chance. Terence is freakishly strong. He can punch. He's got good crack. He can fight from both ways. Orthodox southpaw. He can fight at mid-range, close range, outside, and he can fight going both ways. So it's exciting. It's exciting. It's a big question mark on the end of it though. So that's why, you know, I'm sure all of us are excited for that bell to ring and, you know, be able to find out firsthand.
Caleb Plant also offered advice for Crawford, encouraging him to stay true to his style and trust the skills that got him to this point. He emphasized the importance of staying calm, focused in training camp, and being mentally ready to rise to the moment once the bell rings.
Just encourage Terence to be himself. As I said before, from the inside, mid-range, outside, southpaw, right hand, moving left, moving right, he can do it all. So I would encourage him to stay relaxed, go in there, have fun, you know, have a good camp, and let the dice roll, right? So
Amir Khan said Crawford will face a huge challenge dealing with Canelo's improvements and recent performances. He believes Canelo has gotten technically better over time and remains one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport, making this a very demanding fight for Crawford.
Size, bro, remember, like, Crawford then is a big boy as well. Crawford's a big guy when it comes to a box fight. Yeah,
So you think?
I think Crawford, in my opinion, but size might matter. But then again, I think since when I fought Canelo's become a better boxer. He started boxing more better. You know what I mean? Technical more. Especially against the last fight against Mangui. He boxed really well as well, and he's looking really good. He's still, a lot of people might say, oh, he's getting old, this, that, another, but no, Canelo's still a beast.
Jaron Boots Ennis voiced concern over how Crawford's body would handle the 14-pound jump in weight. He said gaining that much could impact Crawford's speed and movement, which are usually his biggest advantages, and that the effects of the weight won't be clear until fight night.
You said how difficult is it? Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a little difficult because you gotta, what are you gonna have to put on, like an extra 14 pounds? So he might be a little slower, or who knows, he could be faster. I don't know. Like, it's just, you gotta add more weight and gain more muscle and stuff like that, moving up in weight and things like that. So it's a little harder, but I don't know. You know, we'll see on fight night how he'll look.
Danny Garcia acknowledged that both Canelo and Crawford are elite level fighters, and the clash between their styles is part of what makes the fight so intriguing. He pointed out that Canelo's size at 168 will be a real test for Crawford, but regardless of the result, he sees it as a massive event for boxing with global appeal.
You know, at the end of the day, they're two great pound-for-pound fighters, and if they feel like, you know, it makes sense and they want to fight each other, stylistically, it's a great fight. But, you know, Canelo, he's a big dude. And I think it'd be hard for anyone to beat him at 168. But, you know, it's definitely a big money fight, and that's why we're all in boxing.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.